Wanna find an interesting tech discussion chat or a teammate to play with? Join Hardware Lab Discord server, the link is in the description. I would like to start the video with this statement. Nvidia's DLSS frame generation is an unbelievable win from a technical perspective. But is it actually useful for gaming? I really don't think so, at least on that stage. And before calling me the Nvidia hater, let me explain. Hello and welcome back to Hardware Lab. Well, since we are a small channel, we don't have any partnership with Nvidia. Also, none of us have a free £1,600 to spend on a GPU, so the only thing you will see here is my personal thoughts, based on DF and Hammer on Box reviews. I could be wrong, and I would be happy for being wrong in that thing, alright? So, RTX 4090 is a very strong GPU, and the generation advantage of this new Nvidia's GPUs is massive. As massive as price increase, and as marketing dirty moves increase. I mean, seriously? You can just call a 4070 as 4080, give it just 12 GB of VRAM, which is not enough here at all, and hope that nobody could spot the huge price increase over the last gen 3070? Alright, it doesn't matter here. Both HU and DF had only 4090 for their tests, and we want to focus today on the new DLSS 3 frame generation feature. I'm still not quite sure how exactly it works, and probably we will overview what's there under the hood later. But what you need to know is that it generates additional frames via AI and mix it one after one with the frames that are natively rendered by a GPU. These frames can be pretty weird looking, and it adds a bit of additional blur cause of them in general. So DLSS 3 looks a bit smoother and less crisp. According to Hardware Unboxed, the DLSS 2 quality image plus frame generation DLSS 3 looks more like a DLSS 2 performance basically. However, the quality to performance ratio is great. Come on, it's a free frame rate, isn't it? The problem is it's actually not. There are two key aspects that make high FPS gaming feel a lot better than low FPS gaming. First is the video smoothness. You can feel it even now if you change the frame rate of this video from 30 to 60 on YouTube. Human eye is something like an analog device. It doesn't have a frame rate that it catches or whatever. Each movement that we can see in the real world, we basically see them without any divided steps. It's just an infinitely detailed move. Cameras, screens, computers, all of that are discrete devices. Your CPU probably can do 4 billion transistor switches in a second. This is what we call megahertz. Your monitor can show you 60, 120, 144 images in a second. This is what we call hertz. The more hertz, more frames in 1 second means the video will feel closer to a real analog movement, and DLSS 3 frame generation doing it very well. But what about the second aspect? It is responsiveness. Games are all about interaction between you and PC. Fast response, more control, more satisfaction of the process. And this is where DLSS 3 fails. Even in theory, the generated frames cannot respond to your controls. This is just not the data that the algorithm is even using as a source. In fact, generating that frames requires some processor time, and showing that frames on your screen also requires time. So enabling DLSS 3 leaves you with a higher frame rate, but also higher latency. This is not the problem for 4090, at least today, since what it's actually doing is generating 100 plus FPS from 70, 80? 80 FPS is already pretty responsive. No, actually it is a problem as well, since that fake 100 plus FPS is nothing to compare with the real one in terms of multiplayer competitive gaming, but still it's fine to make a fancy review. However, Hardware Unboxed has published pretty accurate data on latency. The results were not promising. 170 FPS on quality mode, with almost doubling the latency of performance mode with the same frame rate. At least 170 FPS is enough to hide visual artifacts of generated frames, yeah? Then what would you say about 112 frames with a latency equal to 42? And just think what will happen with the owners of, let's imagine, RTX 4050 in the future, when they will try to achieve 60, running with input lag greater than on 30. What a mess will that be? And what will happen to the image when generated frames are on the screen for a lot longer? Actually, this would happen. Yeah, DLSS 3 doesn't even allow the interface to render after the frame generation is done, and I'm not quite sure if it's actually possible. And at this target frame rate is super obvious and annoying. Summing up, if you want a fancy graphics settings, with reaching the playable FPS on your GPU that could not provide it, frame generation is not for you. It's visually annoying and it definitely doesn't respond quickly. If you need a competitive frame rate, yeah, nothing to look for here. But if you have paid £1,600 for a GPU, all the latest games are running just fine at 4K max settings and you just need a bit more visual smoothness on your £700 4K 144Hz display, who am I to stop you? Seriously, if you think it's worth it and you enjoy, that's cool. DLSS 3 frame generation made impossible. Of course, generated frames can look bad, but they look a lot better than the frames generated by software doing it offline. Just imagine, real-time frame generation that is better than the offline software. It sounds like magic, and it actually works. It's really great and it is a success, but it's just not quite suitable for plenty of stuff, I'm afraid, at least for now. And yeah, the marketing is just getting dirtier each time. Anyway, as usual, join our Discord server, the link is in the description, and stay up to date with HL.